Alright, boys and girls, so here we have Chapter 4, Section 1. The name of this is Classifying Triangles. And basically we have a lot of vocabulary we just have to memorize. These are things you should look at and just recognize right away without really putting much thought into it. First one we have is what's called an acute triangle. So remember, acute angles are angles that are less than 90 degrees. An acute triangle, all three of the interior angles are acute. So we have three acute angles. And an easy way to remember this is, remember when people see babies, they always say, oh, look at the cute baby. Acute, the cute baby. Babies are small. Acute angles are small. So hopefully that'll help you remember that. Next one we have, this angle is equal to that angle, is equal to that angle. All three of them are equal, so we're going to call this an equiangular triangle. Equi from equals, angular from angle, equiangular, equal angle triangle. And the definition of this is three congruent angles. There's a little sign for congruency. Next, obtuse. So remember, an obtuse angle, that's an angle that is greater than 90 degrees. So an obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle. Now, the way that I recommend memorizing this is, think of the word obese. And obese, very large, very fat. An obtuse angle, it's an extra large angle. It's more than 90 degrees. So if you picture somebody obese, throw a little belly there. Give him a shirt. There we go. If you picture somebody who is obese, obtuse, hopefully they're similar enough, that'll help you memorize that. Next one. A right triangle. A right triangle, need a little triangle symbol there. A right triangle has a right angle. Surprise, surprise. Now, if you forgot that little box, that means that that's 90 degrees, or another way to say it is that it's a right angle. So a right triangle has one right angle. It's impossible for a triangle to have more than one right angle, and the reason why is, since a right angle is 90 degrees, if you had two right angles, 90 plus 90 is 180. Well, we know that the sum of all the interior angles in a triangle has to add up to 180, so if you had two right angles, you couldn't have a triangle. So the next forms of classification that we have, we've got these little marks that mean things are congruent again. This side length is congruent to this side length, is congruent to this side length. So this time, equi, meaning equal, again, but this time equilateral. And lateral, lateralis, side, or al lado for Spanish speakers. Sometimes for sports you think of a lateral pass, a pass to the side. So equilateral, equal sides. And the definition is three congruent sides. Let's see. Next, we've got isosceles. And for isosceles, this side is congruent to that side, but not this one. So isosceles, and this is I-S-O-S-C-E-L-E-S, an isosceles triangle. That one has at least two congruent sides. Now, somebody told me a funny way to remember this is, if you look at this isosceles, if you kind of slur your speech, eyes you can think of the first word eyes, so isosceles, and how many eyes? Well, hopefully you have two eyes, so isosceles, two eyes, two sides that are congruent. Hopefully that helps you. And the last one we're going to go over is scalene. Now, with a scalene triangle, you have no congruent sides. No congruent sides. So, easy way to remember that, when you think of scalene, the first letters make the word scale, and scale, you can think of a fish. So, if you look at a fish and you draw a little picture there, the fish, left to right, top to bottom, you have no sides that are congruent. So when you think of this, you can think of, all right, no sides are congruent. No sides are congruent, just like the fish. Fish has scale, scalene triangle. So hopefully that will help you to memorize these. Now, in this section, we also have some problems like this. This triangle right here, I drew an obtuse triangle, and it's obtuse. It's also scalene. We have two congruent sides there. And with this kind of question, these marks let you know these sides are equal. So if I said to solve for x, this is what you would do. You'd say, all right, I know this side right here is 4x plus 1, and this side right here is 16 plus x. I also know that this equals this, so that means this equals this. And then I just go ahead and solve. So for this one right here, let's just consolidate. So the opposite of plus x is minus x. I'm going to take away an x on both sides. I have 16 here. 4x's minus an x, that's going to be 3x's. I still have that plus 1. Now I'm going to get rid of that plus 1. The opposite of plus 1 is minus 1. This cancels. Now I have 3x equals, and 16 minus 1 is 15. Now just divide both sides by 3, because the opposite of 3 times x is divided by 3. Those cancel. I get x equals, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. And that pretty much sums it up for Chapter 4, Section 1, Classifying Triangles.